Hello, welcome to another GeoPython tutorial. In this video, I'm going to introduce another new Python package called PyGIS. And so let's get started. 2 months ago, I introduced a package called Geospatial. So that's the one that allows you to install almost all the commonly used Python packages for geospatial analysis and interactive mapping with just one single command. And as you can see from the list, again, the link is also in the description below, geospatial.gshub.org. And so if you see from the list, it's pretty long. If you're just trying to use geemap or leafmap, it has some optional dependencies, and some of those might not be necessary. So some of you just want to try it out leafmap, geemap, all the functionality, and this is quite huge. So PyGIS is just for using leafmap and geemap. So if you can see, here's the map, website for geemap. You can go to take a look at some of the dependencies. So for example, requirements.txt. So those are the dependencies are required, so it will be automatically installed when you install geemap. But there are also some optional dependencies. For example, this is quite a long list, so some of those you will need to install later on if you want to try out some of the new functionalities. The reason that I didn't include them because they are not used very often, or they might be challenging to install on some computers, and I just want to make the geemap installation very smooth, so it doesn't matter what operating system you are using, you'll be able to install. But this one will be quite challenging, so it might not be able to install using pip, because a lot of people don't use conda to install to create a new virtual environment. So pip need to make sure, pip installation need to make sure that it's very smooth, no error whatsoever. And there are a lot of optional, and the reason that I want to create a new one because this also might be challenging to install one by one, and I want to include a package that you can install just one command and then you can use pretty much all the functionalities of geemap and leafmap. So similarly, you can go to the leafmap website and you can take a look. They are pretty much very similar. Have some optional dependencies, required dependencies, and also the optional dependencies. So they share a lot of similarity. And so let's go back to the package that we are talking about in this video, PyGIS. So it's also quite easy to remember, and I'm going to show you step by step how to get started, how to install this package. On the left side here, you can scroll down. So those are some of the lists. Again, this is not a complete list because some of the dependencies also depends on others. So you might get actually a couple hundred packages to be installed in the environment. So for example, Royal X array and Royal Coq Geo. So those also depends on, for example, raster IO X array. So a lot of packages will also be installed in those. And again, leafmap and geemap are there, but they also all other dependencies. For example, all the plotting backends, geemap widget, plotly, PyDeck, Kepler GL, right, and GeoPandas. So those are the common ones that you'll be using if you're trying to use a geemap or leafmap some functionalities. So on the left side here, click installation, and I show you a couple ways you can install using Anaconda. You can install using this pip. So I'm going to show you a couple ways how you can get started. And once you set up the environment, this is just a one-time thing, so you will be able to use all the functionalities of the geemap and leafmap. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to show you here using Windows, but you're welcome to use on any other operating system. They should be quite similar. So first, for example, highly recommend that you install Miniconda. So if you haven't done that, you can also watch my other video introducing how to use that. And once you have installed Miniconda, then you can go to your start menu, or you can open your Linux terminal and just open a Miniconda script. Once it's up, then you can create a new conda environment. So if you see from here, this is the new conda environment that we're going to create. So we're going to create a Python environment called Geo, or you can call any other you like. And then we need to install Mamba. Mamba is much faster than using conda. So once you install Mamba, then you can pretty much replace all the conda commands with Mamba. So you can follow step by step here. And the reason that I want you to install GDAL first, because on Windows you don't need this step, but on Linux I have tried a couple times. Looks like GDAO has some errors if you directly install PyGIS. So if you install this one first and then install PyGIS, everything works fine. You can also try pip. I'm going to show you later how you can use pip, because if you're using Google Colab or others, you might not be able to use Conda because it's not installed in the cloud environment. So you need to use pip, but you need to make sure that you just on Google Colab you can directly use this, but if you're on a computer that without GDAO, then you need to be install the first one first. Okay, again, I'm gonna show you step by step. So first, let's come back to here and let's put this one on the left side. Let me move this one here. And so let's create a new Conda environment. So you can Conda env list to see some of the existing Conda environment there. So I already have a geo, so I'm going to create a new one. So Conda create -n, so let's say called GS, and then Python 3.9. So I highly recommend you use 3.9 because 3.10 some of those are not supported yet. So 3.9 is should work just fine because I've tested all of that. Once you have created environment, then we need to Conda activate and GS, right? Let me clear CLS to clear the screen. And then because we have activated environment, so the next step will be to install Mamba. So Conda install -c. So we're going to use the Conda first channel and then just Mamba. Hit enter. Again, it's a couple seconds and just hit enter. You're good to go because I already installed some of those before, and so it's not on my it has some cache on my computer, so it's much faster. And the next step, if I'm on Windows, you just need the last one. So you can here just say Mamba install -c Conda first and then just PyGIS. That's it. So once you install this, you are good to go. Everything is set up. So again, just 4 lines of code, right? Create a new Conda environment, activate Conda environment, install Mamba, and then install PyGIS. That's it. So even on Linux, highly recommend that you install GDAO first because you might encounter some errors if you directly install PyGIS. Okay, and then just hit enter. If you see from here, 334 packages. The total now is 838. I'm not sure why this code so big, but if you on Linux, it's only half the size. So part of the reason might be some of the packages that have different size depends on the operating system. But usually it's not be a big deal. A couple hundred megabytes is not an issue at all, and as long as you have a decent internet, it should only take a couple minutes, and then after that you are good to go, because it can be quite challenging to install all the dependencies at different time because they might have some version conflict, and using this way make sure all the packages will be compatible, so you don't need to worry about later on some dependencies. So, and this is for you to try out leafmap and geemap, but if you're really into Geospatial, I would recommend that you just use the Geospatial package. So this one has a lot more. So pretty much all the commonly used Python packages for Geospatial are included here, so much easier to follow. And you can check out my YouTube channel. So I think roughly 2 months ago. So this is the one here showing you how to install Geospatial. All right, so it's almost done, and this is for using Windows, but you can certainly use Linux. So I also create a video showing you how to, for example, set up, for example, Arch Linux or Ubuntu Linux on your computer, right? So two videos here. You're welcome to check them out. And I'm also going to show you how to set it up on Linux system. So again, let's open a terminal, or if you already open a terminal, and then there will be a drop down list here on the top here, and what you need to do is just simply click whatever Windows subsystem for Linux you are using. So I'm going to use, for example, Arch Linux. So just click this one. It might take a couple seconds to activate. Okay, so once you have this, because in that video I already show you how to install mini Conda and how to create a Conda environment. So you can see pretty much very similar. We have this one that we used last time, but we can Conda create -c Conda first. Oh no, you need to Conda create -n GS Python 3.9. keep in mind, so right now we install the packages within the Linux systems, within the Arch sub Linux. So it's different from this one here. This one right now is installing is directly on your Windows system. So this one right now is Linux, right? Again, conda activate GIS, and then you can conda install dc conda force mamba and press enter. So it might take a couple seconds to resolve all the dependencies, and then come back. It's still installing, and okay, and then hit enter. So this one installs Mamba, and after that, again, as I mentioned earlier, you can just simply copy and paste. So you be and just paste, hit enter. Just right click. If you right click, you will paste the command. Let me see if it finished. Okay, so this one is already finished, and take a look. Now we have this environment set up. So what you need to do, you can just type Python if you just want to test it, if the environment works or not, right? So you can see Python, and then let's say import leafmap. Should be no errors, right? You can try some of those commonly used packages. Import geopandas. Import, for example, raster.io. Import from OSGeo. Import GDAL. Right? So if those packages they all work fine, then pretty much then you don't need you're good to go, right? And then you can just exit, and you can also type just Jupyter Lab, open Jupyter Lab on your computer, and then you can start doing coding, right? And then I can just yes. All right, so from here then you can test the all the packages using Python. For example, I'm going to go to downloads and then create a new notebooks, and then so from here I can just type import leafmap, alt enter, and then m equal to leafmap.map m. You should see the base map, so you can maximize, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, and you can just change the base map if you want. So from here, you should be able to use all the functionality of leafmap. So basically now you have the environment set up and you are good to go. Next, let's go back to the let me open this one again. Go to the PyGIS, right? So we have already installed GDAL, right? Let me come back to here. Yes, so the first step here is to install GDAL first, and just hit enter. 175. I'm not quite sure why on Windows, because it's throwing an error. If you directly use PyGIS, you won't be able to import GDAL later on, but if you use this, so the last step will be to just copy. And after installation, I'm going to show you some shortcuts, because as you can see, you will need to type commands to activate the contact environment. Sometimes if you just want to some shortcut, you can do that. Okay, last step, install PyGIS, and then we should be good to go. Let me close the Jupyter notebooks, because this one is on Windows. So I'm going to show you. You can actually also use the Jupyter on Linux subsystem. So right now we're installing everything on the Windows subsystem for Linux, right? And then we can set up some shortcut to activate the environment to launch Jupyter notebook without having to type all the full commands. So I'm going to show you very quickly, because by using a remote desktop, so you see some lag when I'm clicking the tab, because it's downloading all the packages, so might be a little bit slow. Anyway, once you finish, then let me show you, open the file explorer here to show you where all the files are being located. So on the left side here, lower left corner, you see Linux, right? So all the WSL operating system will be found here, and now we're using the Arch Linux. So if you click this one, and then you go to home, and then your name. So this is where your home directory, right? And there's one called .bashrc. So this is where you can put all kind of commands. So if I double click, it will directly open in Visual Studio Code. But you can also, let me show you, close this one, show you how to open it directly within this one. Okay, so again, similarly, we have finished installation within the Linux system, and then we can try again. for example, Python, right? And you can import leafmap just to give a text. Import geopandas. Oops. PLG file. I'm not quite sure what's import raster.io. Okay. Let's just type exit. I will look into this one later. I'm not quite sure why the shell open of this. I might need to copy the file and then paste in here. Anyway, once you have this, then we can just type, for example, code dot. That means this one is going to open Visual Studio Code within your current directory. And so similar to what you get from here, double click this one, you're going to get the same thing. So from here, you can just type alias and then equal to single quotes. So for example, you want to, every time you want to activate the conda environment, we always need to type conda. Oh, I need it's wrong. So alias GS equal to conda activate GS. So every time when you're trying to activate conda environment on Linux or on using the terminal, you need to type this entire command. Now we are setting on alias basically a shortcut. So if I type GS, it's going to activate this conda environment. Similarly, I can set another one, alias, let's say lab equal to UB Jupyter lab, right? So we're using lab to represent Jupyter lab, and then alias MB equal to Jupyter notebook. Okay, just these three commands. I'm going to show you how can you do that, right? So once you have this, then come back to the terminal. From here, you will need to actually resource. So you can either rebooting the WSL, or you can just source. Basically, it's going to read the source code, and then dot slash. So dot slash means the current directory, and then dot bassrc. So pay attention to here. You just hit enter, and now you will see on the left side here it's no longer GS. So that means right now we are outside the conda environment. So from here, then you can just use the shortcut I showed you earlier. For example, if you want to activate the conda environment, in the past it will be conda activate GIS, right? So this is the entire command that you need to type, but now you just simply use GS. So GS represents that command, and this is why it's so useful, because you don't need to type, especially you have some very long command that you need to use. This will be very useful. And the next one will be Jupyter Lab, right? So you want to launch Jupyter Lab. I can right now just type lab, enter. It's open Jupyter Lab, right? Without having to, oh, you need to just control and then click to open this one. Oop. Open the first one, control, and then click. You should be able to come in here, right? And it's the same thing. From here, I can just type import leafmap, alt enter, m equal to leafmap dot map, and then map, right? And just the same thing. You can then try out leafmap. You can change the base name to whatever you like, right? And this is how you can set up the environment pretty easily on both Windows and Linux. And now you can try whatever, because some of the packages might be very difficult to install on Windows. Then you can try WSL, so Windows subsystem for Linux. Then you can install all kind of a conda environment. You can test it. You can also set up very shortcut to just use. In that way, you don't have to type. So for example, here, once you finish, you can just Control C again. Then you exited the notebook, the Jupyter Lab. And similarly, if I type MB, right, you just Jupyter notebook, and then if you hit enter, again you need to Control open. Oh, is this still Jupyter? This one is still Jupyter Lab. It should be Jupyter notebook. Interesting. Maybe the command is the same. Is it Jupyter notebook? Let me Control C, Jupyter notebook, and open it again. It's automatically redirect to Jupyter Lab, so it might be because Jupyter notebook or Jupyter Lab now has completely moved to. That might be the new version. I need to find out. Oh, auto. Let me 1 second. Let me close off them. It might be just the one that was closed, and then it reopened. So Control C, and then MB. Hopefully this time should work. Jupyter Notebook. Interesting. So might be everything right now moved to Jupyter Lab. So Jupyter Notebook might be gone for good. Alright, anyway, so that's all for this video. I hope you find it useful. If you have any question, welcome to go to the GitHub repository. So if you go to here, let me see here, PyGIS, you should be able to find the GitHub repo, or you go to the PyGIS.js hub or upper right corner here, click this one, and then come to here. So you can ask questions here, or you can open an issue if you have any. Okay, so lastly, let me show you if you want to, for example, you can open in Google Colab. So if you're using Google Colab, you can directly install that one using pip install. So in that way, you don't have to use conda. And again, I'm going to go back to this one, last thing here, installation, right? So it's just pip install. So unless you're using on your local computer or other computer without GDAL, because Google Colab already has GDAL pre-install. So all you need just simply this one, py install, and then here you need to exclamation and then pip install GS and shift enter. It's automatically install all the dependencies, and then you should be good to go. You can try it out later. Okay, so that's all for this video. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.